to the clearing. Oh, what are you doing here? Who are you?
To track the missing soul parts, Kathleen makes a shamanic journey into what she calls non-ordinary reality.
The power that permeates the whole of the universe, which is like a great web, can actually flow between the worlds backwards and forwards. And I think as human beings we engage subtly with this all the time. It has come to a place in the pathway where a stone gargoyle sits, and it sports a wonderful bow tie. For the wolf is panting, and the gargoyle is grinning. The shamanic journey is the basic component of shamanism. We're deeply sort of trying to, get to the creative core of who we are and pulling up connections. I mean, we're almost making a lower world journey. We would call it in shamanic terms, because you're really trying to root into, the ideas, the knowledge, the wisdom that's within you. Pete, the wolf wants to come home to you. May I blow him in?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Okay, here he comes.
That's the wolf back in then. I found myself wondering whether the Kabbalists and shamans were speaking literally or metaphorically when they talked of the spirit world. So I travelled to the West Country to meet an acclaimed writer on Celtic mythology, Bob Stewart, and asked him whether or not fairies actually exist.
There are two ideas of fairies. One is the popular one, which is little glitzy people in shimmering dresses and butterfly wings. And the other one is the older idea, that they are beings that are to do with the life and vitality of the land. And that's certainly what our great-grandparents would have believed. Remember, wherever you are in the ignorant past, that is the knowledgeable present of that past. We are someone else's ignorant past right now. And the fairy tradition is about coming into a different kind of perception. These old traditions are about getting a particular kind of relationship with the land, with the other beings around you, a new relationship to ideas of time and consciousness. And it's that relating that's important, not knowledge. Knowledge itself is sterile unless you use it in some relating, creative way. Mainland Britain and Ireland were always regarded as special sacred places. The Greek and Roman historians described them as such. What we poetically call the fairy tradition is something that's worldwide. It's about energy and beings and the land that you live in. If we take these old traditions and make them valid and alive for us today, it has to be that our own land, our own place, even if it's the inner city, there has to be something sacred and alive there that you find.
In a few moments, the healer who may or may not perform a miracle for the camera, plus the ancient order of bards, ovates and druids, who put me in touch with my ancestors and make me miss the most important football match of the year. All that after the commercial break. Actually, try not to think of it as a commercial break, so much as an opportunity for personal growth. Earlier this year, a senior official in our heritage industry suggested that Stonehenge might be improved by installing computerised virtual reality machines, buggy rides and a branch of McDonald's. It seems a pity to stop there, really, doesn't it? Why not make the stones themselves available as advertising hoardings, the McStones? And then every summer solstice, inside the traditional exclusion zone, they could offer corporate hospitality at a sponsored sacred ceremony to be conducted by those ancient keepers of the wisdom, henceforth to be known as the McDruids. Philip Shallcross and Emma Restle-Orr are Druid priests. Philip and Emma had kindly laid on a day of activities to give me an insight into what Druidry is about and to show us what Druids actually get up to. They took me first to the Wayland Smithy, an ancient burial chamber on the Ridgeway. Druidry teaches us to honour our ancestors, the land, the goddess and our own spirit. We were to begin by bringing an offering for our ancestors. It was suggested I might like to close my eyes and select whatever caught my attention when I opened them again. It was the 26th of June, a date of no importance, I suppose, unless you happen to be interested in football, which I was determined not to be. I wanted my spiritual side to prevail.
Seems an awfully long time. Doesn't he realise there's a queue? Now, I'm not going to come over all reverent and churchy, but I have brought an offering. Seems an appropriate place to do as we all should and honour our ancestors. So one of the first things I saw when I opened my eyes was some elder. It's a sort of it's a pun really, isn't it? Elder, ancestor. Anyway, I've got lots of elder in my garden at home, and serious gardeners always say, well, it's just elder, you shouldn't bother with it, but it makes a lovely drink. So I'll honour the elders with some elder.
Sink into the earth holds you. Sink into the body of the ancestors.
O Ceridwen, O mighty mother of us all, O keeper of the great cauldron of inspiration, we have been blessed by your falling rain.
I began to drift off into a very pleasant place. I felt a heightened awareness of the earth and the air, a respect for the cycle of life and death, and a true sense of belonging. So it came as a shock to find myself suddenly wondering whether Gaza would be playing.
We come to the place of the ancestors. Those who have walked it before may instruct us and guide us and lead us along the path.
In the evening, they took me to Abbott's Wood for the ritual that would make me a bardic initiate.
The birch is the tree of the bard. It is the doorway into Druidry. We must always go through the bard first of all, because it's through the bard that we access the child that sings within us. We will leave you while we prepare the grove. We'll come and get you. And shout to you, so stay within shouting distance.
Oh, I will, don't you worry. Do they still have those man traps in this part of the wood?
They don't, but I hear they have wolves.